Hi guys, it's Heather, the Butterfly Effect plant-based weight loss. And today is Wednesday, and that makes it weigh-in Wednesday. And that's the day that I come in here and I make a video and I weigh in on my life and what's going on with me and on my weight and what's going on with that. And I share some information with you and get your feedback. It's been great. I've really appreciated you guys being with me through all of these weight loss Wednesdays. So today I have a topic that I want to talk about, which is helping someone who is experiencing a relapse or a regain of weight after they've taken off weight. And you guys know that this is something that I know a lot about because I would say that I'm officially past my relapse now. And I say that because I'm about 40 pounds down from my weight that I was. So I got up to 228 again this time, and I'm down to 190 now. I've stayed the same this week. And so I feel like I am officially over it, because not even because of the weight loss, because it's more of a mindset thing. My mind is really firmly determined that I'm not going to do what caused me to go off plan in the first place, which is ruminating. I believe it starts in your mind. I believe it starts with ruminating and thinking about eating the things, because that's what happened with me. I thought I was making all kinds of deals with myself. Well, if I got down to, so like if my goal weight is 122, but I got down to 117, then I could have, some things that were off track. And even if my weight went up, I'd still be at 122. Just crazy thoughts, just bargaining thoughts, just picturing myself eating things that I have promised I won't eat. I promised I won't eat animal products, sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, you know the list, processed food. And so at the time I was doing I really believe it starts with thoughts. And I was having those thoughts as like way before it actually manifested as action. I was having those thoughts as early as like Thanksgiving last year. So, well, I could have this and this for the holidays, if I got way down below. At that time, the lowest I got was like 132 pounds. So I never got to the magic 122 that was supposed to allow me to have, or the 117 that was supposed to allow me to have the magic permission to binge for some reason. Yeah, it sounds crazy because it's crazy, and it definitely didn't work for me. But even those thoughts then, let me start thinking about it, let me start doing what some psychologists called mind tasting, where you can actually start tasting it in your mind before you've eaten it. And so that led to my relapse. And I got up to, like I said, I went from 132 up to like 228 before I was able to arrest it and to get it back under control and let it go back down. So that's how I know that I am past my relapse, because I'm not even thinking about any of that stuff. I'm determined to take like not a toe out of line. And I'm really happy, and I'm finding it pretty easy to stay on plan now. I'm not pining for things. I'm not feeling sorry for myself, which are all warning signs that I have for myself that I could be getting into danger. So all this is to say, I feel like the relapse is safely behind me, and I want to tell you what I learned from it, right? So every situation, my mama used to say, God never wastes a hurt. He'll either use it to teach you or to help someone else. So I want to do both of those things. I want to teach myself so that I can have this advice for myself. I can remember what it felt like if I'm ever in this situation, and also so that I can help others and maybe save others from some of the things that I went through that weren't as pleasant during the during that time when I really felt out of control and I was actively regaining weight and I was feeling like I couldn't find the break. I didn't know how to stop myself. Um, so what I have is a list for you of things that you can, how a person, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, should react if they have a friend who is actively gaining a lot of weight and they notice that the person's gaining a lot of weight, or if the person tells them, hey, I'm off my diet, I can't get back on, I'm actively gaining a lot of weight. Any of those situations. I really think this could probably be applicable to other kinds of relapse, but I'm just focusing on regaining weight. Okay, so what I decided is that the advice that I would give would be different for different kinds of people. So the first one is just a person who you notice has gained back some weight. You just notice online their pictures, they look heavier, or they start posting pictures of food that that they didn't used to eat, and or you see them in person, and they are clearly larger than the last time you saw them, something like that. Okay, so the first thing I would say is don't say anything. Don't say anything. If that person has not come to you and said, hey, I'm struggling, I want your advice, they don't. They just want you to pretend like you don't notice. What I mean by that is that they already know and they're already in a lot of pain. I can tell you, watching all that hard work that you did unravel in front of your eyes and feeling helpless to stop it is a terrible feeling, and they're already feeling that, and they are just hoping that people don't notice. Um, they're not in a position to receive any kind of help, and frankly, they didn't ask for it. Okay, so I wouldn't say anything to them. Maybe you could ask a general question like, is everything going okay? Is there anything I can help with? If they have other things like, haven't heard from you lately, are you doing okay? Or we should get together sometime. Offer your support in a general, friendly way, not mentioning the weight. Okay, so that's the first person, just person you've noticed has gained some weight. Now, one thing that is a big old don't, the big huge don't, is don't talk about the person to someone else. Have you noticed that I want to make sure I don't use anybody's name that I really know. I'll make up an imaginary person, Eunice, okay? Have you noticed that Eunice has gained some weight? Oh my gosh, I wonder if she's okay. A lot of times it's couched under the, oh gosh, we really want to help this person. We hope they're okay. But the thing is, anytime you're talking about a person, that's gossip. No matter what you might think that you're just being a helpful person and you're just showing concern for the person. That's just gossip. And so you especially want to avoid doing that if you're in some kind of a leadership position. Like if you wouldn't want to do it if you had a blog or a website. You wouldn't want to do it if you had a YouTube channel. You wouldn't want to talk about someone else. Or you wouldn't want to do it if you were running a Facebook group or some other kind of group where you're in a leadership position, or you're a public person, public figure. You definitely don't want to talk about someone that anyone else could identify and say, oh my goodness, they're putting on so much weight. That's gossip, and no good can come of it. And it's going to be, what the feeling is going to be is that it's going to cause, not only for the individual that you're talking about, believe me, they're going to hear about it one way or another, right? They say everything seems to get back around, right? And so they're going to hear about it. They're going to feel shame and humiliation. Oh my gosh, people are talking about me. And shame and humiliation don't help anyone change their behavior. If shame and humiliation helped people change their behavior, it would be a lot more common, because unfortunately shame and humiliation are very common in our world, so they're toxic. They make you feel worse. When you feel worse, you want to comfort yourself. How do overeaters and food addicts want to comfort themselves? by eating, right? So it's just going to make the situation worse. I know every time I heard that somebody was talking about me or, tried to give me well-meaning advice that I had not asked for, it would just make me run to a cookie bag. It would just make me like want to bury myself in non-dairy ice cream. It definitely did not make me say, you're really right. You must really care about me, talking about me behind my back. I think I should change my ways. So yeah, that's what I would not do. That's what I definitely would not do. Um, Especially if you're a person that other people look up to. That's really important that you hold that high standard. And also think about it. You might have a blog where you help people, or a group where you help people, or be in some other kind of leadership position where you're helping people. If they hear you talking about someone else, and in that person's struggles, they may not feel like it's a safe place for them to come forward with their struggles, and then that could keep them from getting the help they need. So, you want to be doubly careful that you always create a welcoming and confidential environment, and that we really avoid gossip. It's a normal human thing. Every society does it. It's so, you know, I've done it, you've done it. Um, but we really need to avoid it, or try and go forward. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try really hard to go forward and only use the test of like, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And if it's not, don't say it. Okay. All right. So the second situation would be a person who again is relapsing and has asked you for their help. Because again, if no one's asked you for help and you offer help, that's not really help, right? Okay, but this person in this situation, the second one, has asked you for help. So the first thing I would love to have you say to that person is, look, the fact that you did it before is proof that you can do this. You absolutely can do this. You have proven that you can do it. All that has happened is that you were walking on a path and you kind of got a little way from the path, and you know exactly how to get back on it. Just do what you were doing. If you can't get your mindset in the place that it was before, then take the actions that you were taking before and your mind will follow. In other words, fake it till you make it. But tell them, hey, I believe in you. I know you can do this. I'm here for you. I'm going to be support for you, whatever you need. If you're able to make that kind of commitment, if it's a person that's close to you, or you know, let them know that today is a new day. I always say it's a great day to have a great day. Doesn't matter how many times you've messed up, you always get another do-over. And all you have to do is get your courage up, get your strength together, dust yourself off, and get back on the path. Get back on there, because I believe in you and I care about you and I think you're awesome and you've already proven you can do this. So let me know what you need from me, because we can do this together. Now, when people say things like that to you, when it does remind you, hey, you do know how to do this. It isn't that you're stuck. You know exactly what you did before. Go back and try that again. It gives you encouragement. It gives you strength. You feel that person's genuine caring for you. And, I also like that doesn't give specifics of how to do it, because different things work for different people, and what worked for them before, they might have to tweak it up, because obviously it stopped working at some point. So that's how I would react to someone who asks you for help. Again, we want to avoid coming off as harsh. We want to avoid coming off, we don't want to over tragedize, okay? They regained some weight. They didn't rob a bank. They didn't hurt someone, they regained some weight. It's important that they take it back off if that is their choice and their goal, but it's not, help them to see it in perspective, that this is something extremely common. This is so common. I figured out that I regained probably between 25 and 30% of the loss of the weight that I lost. Do you know how typical that is in the literature? That is literally like almost everyone. Almost something like 98% of people regain between 25 and 30% of their weight in the first year. So hey, I guess I'm typical. But what's the most important thing is that when you have that relapse, when maintenance is hard for anybody to cope with. I had never been at goal weight before. I didn't quite know how to do it. I obviously didn't do it well. I'm going to be working on that again. First, I'm working on getting it off, and then I'm going to try this maintenance thing again. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep working on it till I get it right. But in the meantime, reassuring the person that this is super common. A lot of people go through this. They've overcome it. You can overcome it too. That is super helpful, because a lot of people think there's either perfect people who get it right and then they just manage to do it and they're like the 1%, and then there's all the rest of us. But that's not true. There's there I guess in a way it's a little bit true, like those people seem to get it, but there's hope for the rest of us. We can just keep working on it, and lots and lots of people have done it, and it took them more than one attempt. I myself am on my, probably, no lie, at least 1,000th attempt. And so you can be like, hey, it took Heather a really long time to do it, but I'm still proud of the fact that I took off, about 240 pounds. I didn't put it all back on. I had taken off 300 originally. I've still taken off 240. I'll take that. I'll take that. How many people can say that? So also remind them of their accomplishment, especially if they haven't regained all the weight. Tell them, hey, you're still better off than you were, and you know what to do to get back to where you want to be. Okay. And then the final thing I want to address is sometimes people ask us to help someone that they know, or that they say, please help I need to help my husband, I need to help my daughter, or can you give me advice for my cousin, because she's really getting big and I'm worried about her, she's got diabetes or whatever. Okay, so what we have to tell people is that I would love to help them, but they have to ask me for the help. And that is if you would love to help them, okay? Like, be sincere, but they have to ask me for the help. The willingness has to come from the person. It can't be coming from anybody else, no matter how well-intentioned you are, no matter how much you love them and hate to see them suffer and they're having these health problems. We cannot walk this path for another person. Every person has to do this work for him or herself. I wish, that someone could have done it for me, because that would have been really nice of them. I would have thanked them a lot, but nobody could do it for me. I have to do this myself. And so every person's on their own journey. We are all evolving at our own rate, and we all have our own reasons. I can't make you want it if you don't want it, And the thing that happens when you try to push something on someone else, or if you try to say, hey, Guru Bob, please talk to, I notice one of your people in your group is regaining weight, and you should really help that person. You got to reach out to that person. It's terrible. You're putting Guru Bob in a terrible position, because he can't help that person. They have to ask for help, and then be willing to receive it, and then take the 1,000 actions that follow to actually make the change, and then take those 1,000 actions again every single day. Do you see how you can't do that for someone else? You can't. No matter how inspiring you are, if you're Tony Robbins, you can't get someone else in that state. They have to want. You gotta want it for yourself. And so it's not really fair to ask Guru Bob or anybody else to help your loved one. What I would do if I were you is, are you doing all the actions yourself? If you want them to eat a plant-based diet, are you always eating a plant-based diet? Are you, if you want them to exercise more, are you exercising? Be that example. Have materials available, have like books and around your house, if the person's in your house, that they could pick up and read if they were interested. You know, watch a documentary and have it on, and if they want to watch it with you, those kinds of things. So just being leading as an example and not as like, you know, someone, if you really want to turn someone off or make it so that they won't change, nag them, insult them, make them feel bad about their choices, make them feel guilty. Well, if you really loved me, you would take care of yourself, or, you know, and I don't know, anything else. No guilt tripping, no criticism, no, you know, this is kind of bad because I'm outing my parents, but my dad, like when I was a kid, I wore a size, I was wearing a size 15, which was the smallest size, I mean, which was the biggest size that you could buy in juniors when I grew up in the 80s. They didn't have like juniors plus. And when those got too small for me, I told my parents I need new pants because these pants are too small for me. And he said, no, I'm not buying you any new pants. You need to get smaller. Like, you've gotten big enough. You need to get smaller so you can fit in the pants you have. And I'm sure he thought he was, you know, doing the right thing, like, as my dad who loves me. Now I was probably about 15 years old at this time. As my dad who loves me, he wants to save me from a life of obesity or whatever. But I can tell you, I did not walk. I ran to the nearest, like, crap food, the sweetest, junkiest food you can think of. Cried and cried and cried and cried, and stopped wearing pants, started wearing skirts. So it doesn't work. It made me resent him for a long time. I talked to him later. We got okay with each other, you know, like I was able to address it as an adult, but that stuff never works. Nagging doesn't work. Hinting, insulting, shaming, none of that stuff works. You can't get the guru to call your husband and get him to get on a plant-based diet. You have to love them as they are, just like they love you as you are, you know. You have to love them, and if they want to change, you'll be happy to help them. You'll be happy to teach them what to do, but it has to come from them. All right, you guys, speaking of love, I love you guys. I hope you're having an awesome day. I hope this helps you. If you know anybody who has relapsed and you want to support them, I believe that it does come from a place of love. I do believe that people have good intentions. But you have to be really careful. You have to tread really lightly because the person's self-esteem is already in the gutter, and you certainly, you know, just like in medicine, do no harm. You certainly don't want to do anything that's going to make it worse or prolong the problem. I hope you found this helpful. If you have, I would love to hear about it in the comments, or if you have great tips, I would love for you to add them to the comments so that we can continue, you know, maybe we can help other people together. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.